It's time to get that gold at the exclusive PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards. Showcase your success and enjoy multi-platform regional coverage. Reach PropertyGuru's network of 24 million property seekers across the region. Open to 16 markets. Only the biggest and boldest achievers in real estate are invited. Entry is free. Enter now at asiapropertyawards.com.
That's it, Jules. Break time.
Oh, Bill, yeah. Oh, time for a break. Nice one. Yeah, good to be here.
So where are we today, right?
Well, on the top of a building in Hong Kong by the looks of it. Great view.
Oh, it's pretty windy in Hong Kong today,
Yeah,
right?
it is, but it's good to be back on the site, right?
Okay, so what's on today?
Well, real estate's getting real, so we're here to talk to the people about real estate.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Jules Kay, MD of PropertyGuru Awards and Events. It's my pleasure to host this virtual discussion with regional industry legend, Mr. Bill Barnett, Hotelworks.
What do I say after that? This is another one of our leading webinars. And, we're trying to talk about innovation. We're trying to talk about rethinking our business models going forward. And what are the future trends going to be? And I think these insightful conversations are really important right now.
They are indeed, and they're integral to our PropertyGuru Asia Real Estate Summit, which is an annual event that brings together top-level business leaders, like Bill, and decision makers to exchange ideas, build partnerships, share real estate industry insights. The full ARES agenda is available on the Asia Real Estate Summit website, where you can also download the ARES white paper and explore a full lineup of speakers and topics who will be on the digital event in December this year. But today is all about sharing expert insights already. So we'll be hearing from some respected leaders today in various different parts of the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting as well. I might go out and get hammered after this, but aside from that, exactly. First up, we've got Robert Day from WATG, and we're talking about communities and redesigning the living experience, out in a post-pandemic world. Yeah?
Yeah, it'd be great to hear from him. Yeah,
Great.
Let's hear.
Over to Robert. Robert?
Good afternoon, Bill and Jules and fellow panelists. Thank you very much for inviting me here this afternoon to be a part of your innovation and real estate discussion. I think it's an extremely timely topic, especially as we're now in Asia trying to come out of this pandemic and get back to some form of new normal, whatever that might be. And what I'd like to do today is just discuss a little bit about how the pandemic might affect our buildings, but also, given my background, I'd like to discuss how it's going to affect their context and the setting and the community aspects as we move ahead. As somebody once said, many buildings make one landscape. So I think their setting, their context is just as important as anything we actually do on our buildings. So let's just start with how this might affect resorts. What might be the impact of them? So we've gone through the work from home. We've gone from work for anywhere. But how about work from resort? Now, maybe we're getting to a time where people are not going to spend just 2 days a week in the resort. They won't use it just as a bolt hole, but maybe they spend 4 or 5 days a week at the resort and 2 days back in the city. Maybe they work from there. Now, this will be great for developers because you're going to extend your revenue stream. You're going to extend your occupancy. But it's not going to come without a cost, right? Because if you bring more and more urbanites out to your resorts and they're going to stay there during the week, they're going to be used to their double whip frappuccinos and things like that. So you're going to have to provide them in the resort. So there'll be another sort of hit and another change of amenities that are going to be needed. You're going to have impeccable Wi-Fi. You're going to have courier services. They're going to want to have food deliveries. It's going to become more like home than it is actually a resort, but yet it's living in a resort situation. And then on top of that, you're going to have people, if they're there for a week or 2 weeks or something and then go back to their urban home, I mean, they're going to have their friends out to stay. It's not going to just be the family going away and hiding for a weekend. They're going to have friends around. So what does that do to villas? They're going to have more lock-offs. We're going to have more joined rooms. We're going to have to expand it for the expanded family, extended families and things like that. So it's going to fundamentally, I think, change resorts and with it, any real estate that goes with it. And what about the ability to work from the resorts? Are we going to see the second bedroom suddenly becoming a double up for an office? Are we going to see business desks reappearing back in a resort setting? Are we going to see desks out on a terrace to supply new sockets and things? And what about the business center? Remember that? There used to be some forlorn person sitting there in the corner with a row of computers behind them. But what if we have that into like a WeWork place? where it's a place where people can go and work, they can communicate, they can use it as a business hub, they can use it as a networking center, somewhere where they can get away from the family for a few hours, do your emails and go back again. So maybe we see a resurrection of that. And what about the traditional poolside gazebo? In Korea, because of the climate and the cold weather, we're already seeing them enclosed, and so you can rent them for the day or for the hour. But what if we had a desk? What if it becomes a place where mum can work and dad and the kids can play around the pool, but they can keep coming back together again and having that quality family time? And likewise out in the landscape, out in the open space. I mean, one of the things we've learned from the pandemic is that people now, they want to be outside as much as possible, or a little bit more than they were before. So is it time to radically relook at the resort landscape? Is it time to monetize it? Can we look at it like a ballroom where one day you can have it as one great big space for lots of people, or else is it divisible into smaller and smaller pieces? You could then rent these spaces out for the hour, for the function, for the day, or whatever it might be. And then what about offices? Could we put them outside? Could we put them out in the gardens? Could they be like little follies in amongst the nature and things? Because nature's going to be way more inspirational than any amount of LED lights stuck in the bowels of a hotel. So there's possibilities to re-look at the function of the landscape. And the pandemic will not only change our resorts, but it'll also change our urban fabric. It'll change the way we think and look at a city. I think the recurring themes coming out of the pandemic after our lockdowns and quarantines and having to stay at home are going to be the need for community, the need for space, and the need for greenery. And we need to bring these back into the cities a lot more. We need to provide opportunities for those accidental encounters, those chances to be able to meet someone, greet someone, talk to them, have that couple of minute conversation, because we're craving conversation, we're craving seeing people and things. So that can also be brought about by changing the way we move about a city. Maybe with the uptick in cycling at the moment and walking, maybe that stays. Maybe we have to narrow some of the roadways, create better walking spaces, little parks, linear parks, connecting places. So again, you can meet people, you can contact people, you can have exercise. It's just a different way of looking at a city than the city just being a series of buildings and streets, which is fundamentally how they've developed. I think one of the long-term impacts of the COVID and the pandemic stage we're going through is going to be that on mental health. I don't think it's even started to come out yet, and it's going to be way, way longer or much greater effect than anything physical, such as not being able to travel. So maybe it's a time to really look at the connection between health and nature. Start bringing nature back into the city in big ways. We're already seeing the change to introduction of biomimicry and biophilia techniques, the greening of our buildings, sky terraces, sky verandas and things like that. But really they're half habitats. We need to really bring ecology back. We need to really bring back the healthy nature of landscape. Most of our parks and things are late 18th, 19th century, early 20th century creations, right? And they take a massive amount of energy to keep them maintained in that sort of static pose that they have. So maybe we need to relook at all of those, make them truly healing, bring in other components to it, some gardens, some training, some nature, and really bring them back. Because I have a fear that the route we're going down with planting all over our buildings is really just, as I said, creating half habitats. They're not true ecosystems. They're just pieces of greenery, they're little islands, they're not connected yet. And I think we've got a long, long way to go to bring that back. And if we can bring proper ecosystem, proper nature, get into the forest bathing again, like the Japanese and the Korean societies and things, maybe we can start healing people. We can get people to come out of their homes straight into some nature, some real nature, not manicured nature, but something that really heals people over time. Because I think those scars are going to last. No one can spend 2 years locked in a room without it having some effect on us. So Bill and Jules, thank you for inviting me again, and I hope I haven't strayed too far off topic. I look forward to hearing what my fellow panelists have to say, and I wish you all the best, and stay healthy.
Well, I guess I saw that.
There you go.
Hey, thanks, Robert. That was some great insight. Certainly our style of living. Jules, you've been living in Bangkok, and how has your lifestyle changed?
Well, it's become infinitely less healthy, unfortunately, because I spend all my time indoors. And I think that's something that Robert addressed, is people are looking for nature. People are looking to get out again now that things are getting better.
Now, apparently you have a second job as well, working on a construction site, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's really just for the fresh air, to be honest. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And now, for those of you joining today, as you can see, myself and Bill will be discussing little elements of each of the speakers' points as we we go through, but do feel free to join in the conversation. You can put your Q&A questions in the box at the bottom of the chat, and please add your email so we can respond or pass them on to the right speaker who you've just listened to. You can also email us direct to ares@propertyguru.com, and we'll get back to you with answers to your questions. So let's get on with the discussion. What's next, Bill?
We've got Stefan Bruni. We're talking about food and beverage and restaurants. I don't know about you, but I'm on first name basis with a lot of Grab drivers, Food Panda drivers out there as well. Everything's changed for restaurants and certainly bars during the pandemic. And looking forward, how is the space going to evolve? And I think Stefan has some insights for us on that. So away we go.
Thanks, Stefan.
Hi guys, well thanks for having us. F&B. The good news is I think that it's proven that humans are social creatures. F&B in restaurants and gathering and eating and drinking is an important part of life to many, and the proof is in the pudding. We talked to members of our F&B network, and they talked about people coming out of lockdown and spending more per head in a quicker period of time, a sort of almost a want to catch up on lost opportunities, and to pack the memory banks back full of the enjoyments and storytelling and experiences that we all have at F&B. So that's the good news. I think it has impacted on how we've lived, but it hasn't changed our nature, which is great news for the F&B industry. I think one of the trends that has been more physical is the move of some of the stronger F&B operators, well-known chefs, etc., away from the CPD and out to areas that have more space, more open areas. And I think that's for a myriad of reasons. One, I think that in Singapore, because you have a dense city, I think there's a need for convenience. I think the customer wants to have things on hand, and if they're not in the city and they've moved out to spaces like Dempsey and Duxton that have more space, then the operators are going to go after them so that they can be with and alongside their customers. I think that twinned with the challenges of not being able to use outdoor spaces in these mixed development and office complexes due to regulations and so on like that. The world was there to use, but they weren't allowed to use it. So therefore, they've gone off to areas outside of the CPD. I think it'll be interesting when people start moving back to the CBD, whether or not the crowds will go back. The feeling in the community is that the crowds will go back once we get to the end of this experience that we're all living through. And when the customers want to go back, the social and F&B mixes, or the lifestyle social F&B mix for each of these complexes is going to be important with regards to a draw card or decision by the tenants to choose which of the offices they're going to base their headquarters. So some of the operators that we know have been asking the question, perhaps landlords need to look out for and expect or make a decision on when they think the bottom of the market is. I know we don't have crystal balls, but if they are looking keenly at the bottom of the market, then starting to perhaps make deals with the better F&B operators, or looking closely at the F&B mix, lifestyle mix that you want to bring to your environment sooner rather than later, and make it attractive for these operators that you want to bring as draw cards to ensure that you get the right tenants at the right prices later on. So that's an important decision-making moment, I think, for for landlords and how they want to best prepare for the future. And I think it's about making deals. And then further along the line, once you have filled up your complex with the target tenants and you've got your F&B mix working well, then perhaps have a chat with your tenants. And the other trend at the moment is tenants coming into complexes and then offering free F&B in their offices, whether it be beers after work, coffee to start your day. All of this free F&B offering within the offices above these F&B communities are going to then destabilize that happy mix and that balance that you want in the ecosystem. So I think it's a mix of, looking forward and then working out the best deal so as to entice the right people back, and then looking after the community in a way that provides a real sort of social, fun, live and work place. Well, thanks so much for having us, and look forward to hearing views from the others on the panel. Thanks, bye.
Whoa, look at that. Look at that.
Oh, gee, that's a big one.
It's getting rolling.
It's dangerous out here.
Yeah.
Keep that hat on, Jules.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting insights, though, from Stefan there on the F&B side of things,
That's so important about continuing the discussion with your tenants, Right now we're walking through, everything changes day by day, and you've got to get out there and understand this situation. There's no rule book. There's nothing else for the pandemic. So again, day by day.
Great. So who do we have next?
We've got Luca Doty, and we're going to talk about co-living as a real estate asset class. And I think that's really important because for real estate developers saying, what do we want to do? Maybe we have a recurring income model versus just buying and selling traditional real estate.
Exactly.
Okay?
Things are changing in this space too.
Exactly. Hey, Luca.
Jules, Bill, thanks for having me. I'm here at Homa today, and I want to talk to you about co-living. Co-living can mean different things to different people. For us, co-living is a residential building designed for long and short-term stays, and it's based on 4 pillars: affordability, community, sustainability, and technology. I'm going to talk to you about each of these today, and then I'm going to tell you about the business model behind Homa. Homa is a network of co-living in Thailand. This is the first one in Phuket town, right next to Bangkok Hospital. And it needs to be affordable to the people that live around here. So doctors, nurses, international school teachers, people working at Central Shopping Mall. And that means about 50,000 baht of disposable income per month. And this can be a single guy, it can be a small family. We have apartments ranging from studios all the way to 3-bedroom apartments, and all with a kitchenette. So they're really accommodating whether you want to stay for a week or you want to stay for a year. The best thing about it is we're not just renting 4 walls, but these are service apartments. So that means that they come with all the services that somebody may need, from weekly housekeeping to maintenance. We offer free drinking water, unlimited to all people, and we're also running community programming. So movie nights, workshops, all sorts of events that will make sure that people connect to each other, and this will really become like a small neighborhood. The sustainability part is another key feature for us. We design these greenfield projects. So from scratch, we really look at all the different features that could make this place energy, water efficient, and just a more sustainable project. We've been working closely with US Green Council. We're going to be LEED certified. We've been working closely with the IFC World Bank. This is going to be the first EDGE Advanced certified building in Thailand. Apart from certification, is a better place for living. That means that we have special glazing that reflects sunlight, so that doesn't heat up the rooms when you live in. All the kitchen and appliances are inverters, so they consume 30% less, so your bill will be simply lower and you save on cost. we recycled all the water that we can, so rainwater system recycling, grey water recycling, and we use that to irrigate all this beautiful garden. We have 2 solar farms on top of one of the building and on top of our car parks, and in general we chose materials in a way that could reflect less sunlight, it could be less sun absorbing, and it reduces energy and water consumption by 40% compared to a traditional building. The last pillar is technology. So how do we drive community? How do we make sure that we actually efficient also from a resource perspective internally, and what technology is a big part of it. So we develop our own app where the people can use to connect with the management in case they need anything. So it's a very functional app, but it's also an app that acts like a concierge that will keep everybody up to date on what's happening in the building, whether it's a movie night, whether it's a yoga class, whether it's a talk from one of the artists of Phuket Town. And we believe that this unique combination of community, technology, sustainability, and affordability will really allow us to set us apart and attract long and short-term rentals of all kinds. We also have a co-working space, which is designed to attract remote workers, and these can be digital nomads already living in Thailand, or people that may relocate from bigger cities like Singapore or Hong Kong or Bangkok. The business model is a little bit different compared to the co-living traditional setup. What we have seen around the world, they were usually fast-growing, asset-light co-living firms. So they were leasing a series of properties and they were running a lease arbitrage. We don't really believe in that too much. One, because of the risk the lease arbitrage carries, and second, because we want to create community around real estate, and it's very important that that community goes also beyond the boundaries of the building. So creating community outside and on the street, and having young entrepreneurs opening coffee shops and just businesses around us will help us to increase the value of the property. So owning the property is key. So we own and operate the properties, and it will be the same for all the future HOMA projects. We only rent, we are not selling anything. So the objective is to create very stable and predictable cash flows, hence the necessity to have long-term residents, but also have a piece of short-term rentals in order to enhance our yield. Game plan is really to create a network of residential projects that will redefine the rental experience and build scale that will allow us to go probably also outside of Thailand, in other countries of Southeast Asia, and change the perception of people that they have with housing, and make sure that anybody can afford somebody that feels like home. Hopefully you enjoyed this session on co-living. Thanks a lot again for having me. Jules, Bill, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
We've gone too far.
No, okay, whoops. There you go back.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Here we are.
That's it. There. Thank you. Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? That was a nice bit of insight into the co-living experience.
Rentals.
Rentals, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously, people are investing in property. It's still a very hot market out there as we bounce back. But buy-to-rent is becoming a new sector in itself, yeah? And rental could be one of the ways forward for investors in the future.
I think the one thing is people are trying to find out how are you going to redefine. Today we're talking about rethinking real estate itself. So I think there's a lot of interesting subjects we're going to talk about. People reinventing themselves. The pandemic is probably the single biggest business opportunity of our lifetimes.
Yeah, and I think people need to grasp that and welcome the innovation and welcome the change. Right?
And reinvention, right?
Yeah, reinvent. And I think that's what we're going to hear more from now, from our next speaker, who is?
We got Patrick Keane from Interprojects. Patrick's going to be talking about ancient materials together with 3D technology. Again, technology is so fast-paced about there, but also it's a great time where we look back at basic materials and really having these type of things used in projects as well. Why should we be buying locally, right? Especially when we come and look at new projects about renovation of projects, repurposing, conservation.
And of course, sustainability, which is also key to this when we look forward. Right?
Okay, so Patrick, take us there.
Oh, it's a minefield out there. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Jules. I'm Patrick Keane from Enter Projects, and I'm here to talk about post-COVID design, wellness, dynamic spaces, and first of all, let me get out of this thing. Okay, so dynamic form studies, covered central spaces, integrated environments are really important these days as a designer. And I want to talk to you about wellness and spa spaces, spaces that are about healing and rejuvenation. My topic today is blending 3D technology with ancient arts and crafts and seeing what the results come out of that whole experience as a designer. So I'll just jump into some studies and form things that we talk about and looking at ancient weaving and craft techniques blended with the latest technology in these 3D models. Here's a series of shots of a project under construction, and it ended up being a spa treatment and wellness zone made out of traditional local Thai materials, but working with overtly digital design. This is a yoga studio in Bangkok, and it really stands as an oasis of tranquility in the urban jungle of Bangkok. So jumping scale, arts and crafts can be fused in commercial settings with digital technologies as well. So this project here is a great example of how rattan, which is a material used for centuries, can be blended with the latest 3D modeling softwares and technical design tools in 2021. This is another project which is a lobby and central area for a atrium space and a waterfront area, which is really beautiful in terms of unfolding space and blending the technology as well. So let's all think brick. Brick's been used for thousands of years. An ancient material with new innovation. So the materials can be age-old materials. They were building pyramids with bricks. And now it's time for designers to maybe think brick. We went back to the brick pits, me and a group of colleagues, and really sought out to see what's available, what's local in Thailand, what can be sourced locally. These images are from South Thailand. And then 3D printed technology, blending it with the newest, the best technology, embracing new technologies, and combining it with the traditional building techniques that everybody knows about brick. And here's some interiors that we're working on for a beautiful courtyard in a passive design project. It's a passive house, and it's going back to the classics, but it's also working with the latest technologies available of the time. So that's about thinking brick. That's blending arts and crafts and digital design together in a post-COVID solution, what design means in 2021. So a big question, can we print our own buildings? The answer is yes. This slide from earlier, nature is our biggest resource. Let's use it as inspiration. Here, there's a company that's actually printing coral structures to save corals all around Southeast Asia and rejuvenate it as an initiative to bring back the wildlife, the sea plants, and all of the devastation that's happened. So the printed coral structures have a great system that is or can be used for building structures. So these structures here are actually growing like corals, and they can form canopies, they can form external areas. So here again you see ancient old materials, sand, combined with the latest in 3D technology. So what are we looking at for the future? Well, we're looking for more innovation. We're looking for taking classic materials that we have seen and used for thousands of years, and reinterpreting them to be more dynamic, to have new applications, to have new uses, to also, most importantly, be more environmentally friendly and less lighter on the planet. So architecture is meant to inspire, it's meant to inform, And it's also meant to make people think about their built environment and how to integrate it in the best possible way. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great year ahead.
Stop. What's that about?
Well, for me, the big takeaways there were obviously the repurposing and the sustainability angles, very important when we look at the future.
I think something that Patrick said was really, there's a thread that runs through us talking about a sense of place. You know, projects, real estate projects, any building project has to have a storyline. It has to have a sense of where the project is located and speak to the environment as well and sustainability. I think that's really the way forward. But using, repurposing materials or rethinking how we design things, I think that's so important. We're going to see a lot of renovations going forward. That's one key aspect. But certainly, for me, 3D technology is so important to real estate going forward.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is it brings in the old and the new, bringing ancient, methods and technologies with new methods and technologies to create something.
And creates just some crazy designs as well. So hats off to that.
Yeah,
there you go. There we go.
Thanks, Who's next?
Who's next? Exactly. James Knowles. We're going to be talking about the ultimate vacation homes.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a vacation, Jules?
Everybody needs a vacation.
There you go. Over to James. James, take us on the ultimate vacation experience.
Thank you, guys, and welcome to what we consider is the ultimate luxury vacation home right now. My name is James Knowles, and I work for Miner International, and this is Averdina Hills by Anantara. I think one of the things that's been key for us in developing this fabulous property has been the design and build aspects of the resort. As you can see, our Japanese architects penciled a beautiful envelope, coupled with using the highest quality materials. All the wood you see is the highest grade teak. We have waterfalls on our staircases to break the gentle walk down. We have beautiful slate roofs and incredibly well manicured gardens. So bringing the fabulous design aspects from the outside inside, what epitomizes luxury for us is this. This is not the owner's bedroom, this is the owner's guest bedroom. This is a 90 square meter bedroom enveloped with a reflective pond that cantilevers from the front of the bedroom, giving panoramic sea views to its occupants. The walls are draped in the finest silk, Italian stone in the bathrooms, and beautiful teak floors. There's many design aspects in this bedroom that are impressive, from the air conditioning that is ultra quiet, highly low maintenance, and extremely soft blowing, to some of the key design features like no curtains ever bunching in the windows of corners of windows, and they are nicely, discreetly hidden by our Japanese architects behind these teak paneled doors. Welcome to the living space. What exemplifies luxury for us is facilities just beyond these magnificent mansions. This master plan here gives you an idea of the size of this resort. We're looking at nearly 3 million square feet of private homes and services delivered by our flagship hotel, our Anantara Hotel, which has 3 signature restaurants delivering food into the homes or the customers going into the hotel. It also showcases here a health and well-being zone of 600 meters long, which we've developed into 3 key zones for high energy eating and eating well via a organic farm. And finally, our medical spa will have 27 different treatments for mental and physical well-being. And the last thing that supports the owner's enjoyment within this resort is, after finishing our helicopter pad, we've also just constructed our jetty to allow our customers to access their boat from our beach directly, and from their boat to the beach directly to their home. So another key highlight of luxury in our minds is the service that the human beings that we can apply from our hotel managed properties to our villas. Kunshuga here is one of our senior butlers. Each of our owners is dedicated a senior butler to their home as part of their ownership. Beyond that, These villas are cleaned, they are maintained, they are managed 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's very comforting for the owners to know that when they're here, their villas will look like this and operate like this. But it's also been very comforting for them when they are away to know that the villa will always look like this and always be maintained like this. And they can come with a very short amount of notice on their vacation or send their friends and know that Kunshuga and her team and the hotel guys and girls that make these properties, maintain these properties like this, are always there 24 hours a day. So for us, quite a unique and unusual aspect of our villas has been the raw concrete open spaces that we deliver into each of our owners' homes. We've understood that we don't build everything in accordance with what an owner might want. These spaces allow owners to add more bedrooms, cinema, gym, spa, or anything that's personalized to their taste. They can follow the design upstairs that we've used, or they can follow their own design completely. So it gives them the opportunity to custom build their own part of their villa to make it exactly as they want it. And that to us means luxury. So the last aspect, and probably the first one I should have discussed, is the location of the property. We know that if you build something as magnificent as this, it needs to be in the best of the best location. We are seated right in the middle of the northwest coast of Phuket, 20 minutes from the airport, very convenient for those short trips from Bangkok, and 10 minutes away from some of the best eating, drinking and dining in Phuket. We know that luxury is about a multitude of things: the space, the size, the flexibility, and actually it often boils down to as well the ultimate location. This is the best of the best so far in Phuket, and I thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. My name's James Knowles, and I'll see you again sometime.
Jules,
What?
Get me out of the box, Jesus.
Oh, I know what you mean. Get out of the building. It's not all about the building.
Ultimate luxury, again, we're talking about scale, we're talking about amenities also. Hotel brands are coming into luxury real estate. But one thing that James also told us was location, location, location.
Yeah, and that was one of the most beautiful I've seen. Definitely a fantastic location. And the way they use the resources of the site to create an additional lifestyle experience, also important.
It's a great takeaways. We're going to swing over to Matt Carlisle at XCO2. We're talking about ESG. ESG, yes, thank you for that.
The future.
Sustainability. But I think anybody who's going to be developing real estate going forward, they're talking about climate change and these kind of aspects. So, Matt,
take it away.
So, thanks, Jules and Bill. So, my name's Matt. I'm from XCO2, and I'm going to talk to you today about why ESG is important for the real estate sector. So, ESG stands for environmental, social, and corporate governance. So it's essentially a set of criteria that a socially conscious investor or a bank, as well as a government or a regulator, could use to assess the sustainability performance of a particular company, fund, trust, or portfolio. So environmental criteria considers how a company performs as a steward of nature. So its performance in terms of energy and water conservation, its investment in renewables, the sustainability of their raw products. So social criteria examines how it manages its relationships with its employees, its suppliers, its customers, and the communities of which it operates in. And governance deals with the company's leadership. So things around its executive pay, internal controls, shareholder rights, those types of things. So traditionally, we primarily used financial criteria to gauge performance of companies, so profit, return on funds. But increasingly, ESG is being used as a complement to give us a more rounded assessment of an organization. And to understand why ESG is important for the real estate sector, it's helpful to have a look at the wider context and trends. So on screen, you'll see 3 images. So the top right is a report from Bloomberg talking about the last 5-year trend in global ESG investing. And the trend is undeniable. It's almost $1 trillion invested in ESG ETFs. So this is not a niche part of investment anymore. So below that, Both the Hong Kong and Singapore stock exchanges have implemented mandatory rules on ESG reporting, meaning that companies need to report this as part of their annual statements. China, US, and Europe are all on the same path. And then to the left, this is a report by the New York Stern Business School, which looked at over 1,200 studies and found a really strong correlation between ESG criteria and financial performance. So the messaging is pretty clear. Regulations, investment, and performance are pointing all sectors, real estate included, towards maximizing their ESG criteria. So for real estate owners listening today, so you might be a private investor, you might run a family office, you might be managing a large REIT. Why is ESG important to you as a real estate investor? Well, approximately 40% of global emissions are from the construction and operation of our buildings. So it represents like a huge opportunity for us to tackle climate change. But there's considerable commercial benefits as well. So potentially higher tenancy rates and returns. So tenants increasingly want to be in sustainable properties. You can lower your operational costs, so utility costs of energy and water. You can increase the resilience of your asset, and it can give you access to green funding or to green bonds. And the risks shouldn't be understated as well. So properties that are too expensive to run or can't achieve certification could become stranded assets, and can obviously affect your ability to get funding. So banks are soon going to be required to demonstrate that they're lending based on ESG criteria. So this is already happening in the energy sector, for example, where banks and insurance companies are unwilling to back new coal mines. So to do it successfully, it's important to note that ESG criteria needs to be fully integrated into your business model. But here are some of the activities that you should be considering. So under environment, for the real estate sector, because it's mainly physical assets, the environmental criteria has been traditionally where owners have focused most of their energy. So it's about tracking and monitoring your energy and water. For your facilities teams to constantly be looking for improvement. So Marina Bay Sands here in Singapore is a really good example. They've reduced their energy consumption by 30% since opening. Having annual third-party audits can help bring in new ideas and technology, and certification should certainly be considered. It's the easiest way to benchmark and improve and communicate your property's performance. So under social, it's key basically to look at wellness as part of one of your key design criteria. So making your development a place that improves people's mental and physical well-being. So community use and having public space within the development also increases its social value. So Lendlease's Pilot Bar property up the road here is a really good example of a green thoroughfare through the centre of the site that operates as a public space. So there's a playground, groups use it for picnics. It works really, really well. And then lastly, governance. These will apply to all businesses, but for real estate, the key ones are having energy management strategy across your portfolio, and definitely setting decarbonisation targets to drive change. And just briefly, monitoring and reporting is absolutely critical. So the GRESB or GRESB platform is really popular with large REITs, portfolio owners, for managing this process of collecting data and showing it. But equally, an organisation can create their own reporting structure. So many use the UN's SDGs as a framework for doing this. Anyway, everyone, look, I hope this has been helpful in understanding why ESG is important for the real estate sector. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and get in contact with us. Jules and Bill, back over to you guys.
Wow, let's take a break there, Jules.
Yeah, too right. It's getting warm.
Some great insights from Matt. It's all about the right tools.
Exactly. ESG, it's all about decarbonising, monitoring, tracking, keeping a report, and making sure that you're actually following the principles that you've actually put in place, which is great.
I think something we're learning about certainly is the environment matters, certainly global climate change, everything else. That's so important. Building for the future.
Definitely. And that's all inside and outside. And I think our next speaker is talking more about the outside.
Talking to Scott Dine, and we're going to be talking about the green spaces, and everywhere from swimming pools to what's the greatest trends outdoors, because again, post-pandemic, it's all about getting outside.
Yep, healthy is outdoor living. And I think they're really redefining spaces outside as well now to make people live a healthier lifestyle.
Let's listen to Scott on his opinions on the outdoor spaces. Scott, over to you.
Hi, Bill. Hey, Jules. Good to see you guys again, and thank you for having me here to share some thoughts on a few of the current trends in residential landscape. So in no particular order, trend one is green walls. I'm talking about freestanding walls or the facades of buildings that incorporate a system that supports soil for growing real plants. And I emphasize real plants because if they are not implemented correctly, you will end up replacing those plants with fake plastic plants, which look terrible and do nothing good for the environment. The reason green walls are trending is because not only do they look awesome, but with increasing urbanization, open space and nature are becoming scarcer. So we find ourselves working on more and more higher density residential projects where space for landscape is constrained. So the challenge there is how to maximize that sense of greenery and nature within the development to create a landscape that is impactful and provide a sense of escapism from the hustle and bustle of the city. Green walls are a great solution to that problem. Just be mindful that there are technical challenges with ongoing operation costs in the form of water supply for irrigation and regular maintenance to kind of help keep that green wall looking nice and lush. Trend 2, sky gardens. In recent years, we are seeing more and more iconic residential towers which have stunning landscape spaces on the roof or in pocket gardens like allocated through different floor zones of the building. Sky gardens, they benefit from amazing views of the surrounding city, but they also provide residents with an opportunity to step out of their units into an outdoor space, feel the breeze and nature and socialize with their neighbors, which helps build that sense of community, especially within those vertical living environments. So also they typically incorporate some form of amenity, anywhere from a swimming pool to lounge area or workstations. They're great places to rock up with your laptop and spend a bit of time enjoying a Zoom call. Some considerations with sky gardens relates to the climate. The last thing you want are your neighbors complaining about trees and plants being blown off the building during a typhoon. So always engage a landscape architect early on in the development process to work with your project's architects and engineers so that the landscape intent can be integrated with the structural and MEP design of the building. That's very important. Trend 3, I just touched on swimming pools. Outdoor hydrotherapy pools. Most of the residential projects we work on in Asia have at least one pool in some form or another, typically a main pool and a kids pool, a shallower kids pool. However, we are seeing an increase in demand for hydrotherapy pools, and these consist of pulsating water jets located within the pool or decorative external spouts that blow high-pressured water onto the body, providing the user with a therapeutic massage experience. These are very popular with the health and well-being conscious folk amongst us, and therefore a powerful selling point for that demographic of buyer. Sometimes we expand on the healthy living theme by providing yoga lawns, meditation decks, and pavilions to capitalize on that upward trend. Expanding on leisure facilities, trend 4 is outdoor cooking amenities, or in the way of barbecue stations. Obviously, these allow residents to cook a meal outdoors with their family and friends, which we believe is going to be especially appealing in a post-pandemic world. There are some great electric grills on the market now that come complete with built-in sinks and food preparation areas, which aids in their operation aspect, and they're fairly easy to clean. They've proved very popular in Vietnam, where we've used them in both larger townhouse developments as well as on the podium landscapes of high-rise. So incorporate the barbecue station into the landscape. Consider, implementing things like a sala for shade and rain protection, together, with a patio for outdoor furniture to create, a really elegant space. And space permitting, if you can, provide a herb garden for residents to make use of during the cooking process, or a green wall installed with herbs. Lastly, trend 5, kids playgrounds, or more specifically, customized adventure playgrounds. Playgrounds are always a huge selling point in residential products that are geared towards young families. In recent years, we've seen the emergence of more sophisticated adventure playground equipment that blows away those out-of-the-catalogue red, yellow, and blue fixtures. There are specialist companies that design and customize play fixtures to tie in with the overall development character or branding of your residential product. But above all, they look absolutely stunning, and they are as much as a kid's play fixture as they are like an iconic sculptural element within the landscape. So those are five big trends that we see in residential landscape at the moment: green walls, sky gardens, hydrotherapy pools, and outdoor cooking amenities and customized adventure playgrounds. If you hit the mark with any of those trends, you'll have an Instagrammable landscape to help get those social media hits going in your marketing campaigns. So good luck and thank you, and back over to you guys.
Damn, it's almost knockoff time.
Definitely, that's enough of that. But some great insights there from our last speaker. You know, the great outdoors. How are we going to make use of it, right?
I think something Scott said also resonates with me is Instagram. No matter what we have, we're in Asia, Instagram rules the roost. And so any type of project, again, you want to be recognized. You want those USPs in a real estate project because that's what sells.
And exactly, that's going to bring your investors. That's what's going to bring your hospitality visitors to your project. It's all about creating something.
Wow.
Exactly, it's a wow. We've got a wow factor here.
Okay.
So this has been a big wow factor overall. We have received some questions from you all. Thank you very much for that. We will be responding via email. We'll be passing them on to the relevant speakers as well. And of course, we do want to say thank you to our speakers today who spent the time to contribute. Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of effort in there.
Exactly. What's coming up next for Real Estate Guru?
Exactly. Well, for Real Estate Guru, we have the Asia Real Estate Summit on December the 8th, which will also be held virtually, not like this one, which is actually on top of a real building. But yeah, we will be hosting the Digital Summit on the 8th of December. Please check out the website, asiarealestatesummit.com. Download our digital white paper, have a look at the speaker lineup and the agenda, and pre-register for that event in December. It's going to be a good one with more insights on the future. And you can also nominate your favorite startup for the Tech Innovation Award.
Jules, I think it's time to go.
I think it is.
Are you ready to live for the applause at the most exclusive night in real estate? Connect with business elite and decision makers. Spanning 16 dynamic property markets in Asia Pacific. Enjoy multimedia coverage. Showcase your brand. Address the industry's key players and reach more audiences through our live broadcast. Be part of the excitement at PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards.